Imagine this. One small joke, one careless line you throw out, never expecting it to matter. And then suddenly, your life tilts sideways, your marriage starts to unravel, and you realize you've opened a door you can't close. That's exactly what happened to me. What my husband did next shocked me in ways I'll never forget, and it all started with a laugh, a tease, and a neighbor who should have stayed just that, a neighbor. Good evening. If you've stumbled here, I'll warn you now, this isn't a simple story. It's complicated, messy, and filled with choices I wish I could take back. But it's also real. And maybe, just maybe, you'll understand how something so small spiraled into something I could never control. It began on one of those warm, slow Saturday evenings where the air itself feels heavy. My husband, Ethan, and I were sitting on the porch. He had a beer in hand, his eyes on the sunset, and I was restless. We had just noticed a new neighbor moving in across the street. His name was Marcus. That's all I knew. He was tall, solid, confident, with a kind of presence that drew your eyes whether you wanted to or not. I caught myself staring longer than I should have. His skin glowed under the last stretch of sunlight as he lifted boxes from the back of his truck, his muscles moving like they knew they were being watched. I nudged Ethan with a grin. "Well," I whispered, "looks like we've got some new eye candy on the block." He frowned, clearly not amused. "Have you been measuring the neighbors now?" That's when I said it. The line I thought was just a joke. "Come on, just look at him. I bet he has the biggest one in the neighborhood." Ethan choked on his drink, coughing mid-laugh, half shocked, half annoyed. "Claire, what the hell?" I burst out laughing. That was the whole point, to tease him, to get a rise out of him. But something in the air shifted, something I couldn't put back. A heat rushed to my cheeks as soon as the words left my lips. I laughed, yes, but inside something stirred. Something I wasn't ready to admit. Later that night, Ethan brought it up again in bed. His tone wasn't playful anymore. "You really think he's better than me?" I blinked, startled. "Ethan, it was a joke. Stop." But he wasn't laughing. He pulled me closer that night, rougher, more intense than usual, as though he had something to prove. And while part of me loved that spark in him, I didn't realize what I had actually done. That silly little joke had cracked something open between us. A door to jealousy. A door to temptation. In the days that followed, Marcus seemed to be everywhere. At the mailbox, he'd flash me a grin. In the yard, he worked shirtless, sweat glistening across his chest like he was posing for some magazine cover. One afternoon, he slid out from beneath his car, grease on his hands, and nodded at me. "Need anything, Claire?" The way my name rolled off his tongue made me stumble. I fumbled for words, smiling too wide, pretending I was just checking the mail. But inside, my stomach flipped. I could feel his attention, sharp and deliberate. That night at dinner, I joked about Marcus again. "You know, he flirts with me sometimes." Ethan's jaw tightened. He didn't answer. But later, I caught him standing by the window, watching Marcus work out in his garage, his posture rigid with silent anger. For the first time, I realized Ethan was competing with a man who didn't even know, or maybe did know, that he was in the middle of our marriage. And I didn't stop. Instead, I leaned into it. When I went outside, I slipped into slimmer shorts. I lingered at the edge of our yard when Marcus was nearby. I grinned when he caught my eye. It was reckless, dangerous, and thrilling. One evening, as I passed his driveway, Marcus set his dumbbells down and smirked. "You always show up when I'm working out. Trying to get my attention, Claire?" "Maybe I like the view," I teased back, my heart pounding. He chuckled, stepping closer. "What about your husband? He doesn't get jealous?" "Of course he does," I whispered. "That's what makes it fun." Marcus tilted his head, studying me with eyes that seemed to cut right through me. "So, Claire, what are we doing here?" I didn't answer. I just smiled, turned, and walked away, knowing Ethan was still on the porch, watching. My hips swayed a little more than usual, and I could almost feel the tension buzzing between all three of us. That night in bed, Ethan's voice broke the silence. "What are you up to, Claire?" "No more jokes." I looked at him. "Can you really tell me you don't think about it?" Don't you imagine what it would be like? Me with him? His face hardened. Stop. But I couldn't stop. The truth slipped out before I could catch it. I can't stop thinking about him. Ethan shut his eyes, breathing hard, his fists clenched. Then suddenly, he pulled me into a frantic, desperate kiss, as if trying to erase Marcus from my mind. But even as he kissed me, my eyes were open, staring out the window toward the neighbor's yard, thinking of the man who lived across the street. The next night, I did something I swore I wouldn't. My fingers trembled as I sent Marcus a message. "Where are you tonight?" His reply came quick. "Here."
Why?
I hesitated, then typed words that made my pulse race. "Meet me behind the shed." Midnight. That night, while Ethan pretended to sleep, I slipped barefoot into the darkness. Marcus was already there, leaning against the railing. When he pulled me into him, his lips brushing my neck, every nerve in me lit on fire. My breath caught. My body betrayed me. And then, a sound. A soft click. I turned my head and froze. There, in the window, was Ethan, watching. He didn't move. He didn't shout. He didn't intervene. He just watched. I stumbled back, guilt flooding me. Marcus whispered something, but I barely heard. My heart was pounding too loud. I ran home, slipping quietly into bed, but Ethan lay stiff, his back to me.
He wasn't asleep.
He was wide awake. I braced myself for a storm the next day. But instead, Ethan brewed coffee like it was any other morning. "Eggs?" he asked calmly, as though nothing had happened. I stared at him, stunned. "Ethan, what you saw." "I saw enough," he said, his voice steady. "But Claire, that was just the first step." Those words rattled inside me. He wasn't letting go. He wasn't giving me the fight I expected. And that was worse. For days, Marcus and I kept meeting in secret. In cars. In shadows. Every time, I felt like I was juggling two lives, the suburban wife and the woman chasing something wild, dangerous, intoxicating. I thought I was in control, until the night everything shattered. We had just finished, breathless beneath the stars, when a voice cut through the dark. "Marcus." A woman stepped forward from the shadows. Tall, fierce, commanding. Her presence froze me where I stood. Her eyes never left Marcus. "Were you planning to tell her?" I turned to him, confused. "Who is she?" Her answer was like a blade. "His wife." My stomach dropped. Marcus said nothing. He just stood there, caught. She turned to me, her gaze slicing right through me. "You thought you were special? You're not the first bored wife he's played with, and you won't be the last. He collects women like secrets." My knees buckled. The thrill, the danger, it all crashed down around me as nothing more than a cruel game. I stumbled home, humiliated, broken. And there was Ethan, sitting calmly on the porch, beer in hand, waiting. He looked at me softly. "You okay?"
Tears blurred my vision. "He's married. Ethan, he has a wife." Ethan nodded slowly. "I know. Found out yesterday. I thought maybe hearing it from someone else would hurt less." I collapsed beside him. "You should have stopped me." He sighed. "Sometimes people have to walk into fire before they understand the heat. It's been 3 months. Ethan and I are trying to rebuild, but something in us has changed. Maybe forever. Marcus' garage stays shut now, dark and silent. But sometimes at night, I hear her voice again, cold, clear, unforgiving. And I realize I'm not just a victim. I'm the woman who touched the flame, got burned, and lived to tell the story.